It's Sunday night, and that means it's time for the weekend review on this 26th day of October 2025. About to just blast through the month of October. Halloween, then the next thing you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas will be here. Before you know it, this is when things really start to rocket, especially if you are into sports and looking at the NFL or anything else. I mean, you're looking at week 7, week 8, bam, week 10. Here come the divisional playoffs, and then you're off to the races. But as wrestling fans, we have a Saturday night main event to get through. Then we have a massive, one of the big 4 PLEs coming our way at the end of November for Survivor Series, War Games. That always, the match itself always is the really what kind of sells the PLE these days. And we've got certainly a lot of time, about a month to look forward to that. But more immediately, we have Saturday night's main event that comes to us in 6 nights from Salt Lake City. We have a big PLE. I know that I say that it's a PLE light, and it really is, but this one may have the biggest, most stacked card that I've seen in a while. We have a World Championship match that's going to guarantee a new world champion in CM Punk and Jey Uso, barring some wacky finish that allows neither man to become champion, which is also possible. I'm a little bit leaning towards Jey, and if you want my full review and prediction show, that's coming to you later this week, probably sometime Wednesday, Thursday time frame. I mean, it could come Friday, but I'd like to do it a little bit sooner, so we will see. But before we get anything started, I have to give some shout outs to some brand new patrons, and they are Blind Star, Wayne R. I have, let's see here, David Mills, and let's see. Oh, I got more. Carter M, Nano Dinero, and I think that's it over the last week. So let me reiterate: David Mills. See, I can pronounce your last name. Wayne Reinhardt. There you go. And we have also. Oh, I just clicked out of it. Blind Star, as well as Carter McCaden. Thank you, all of you, for joining us over at Patreon. If you'd like to join them and everyone else, head on over patreon.com/WWE podcast, because it gets you at bare minimum everything ad free. Join the Jobber tier for 7 days for free. And if you like us, stick around. And if you don't, stick around anyway. Alrighty, let's jump into it. Let's get into SmackDown specifically, because there's a lot to talk about here. Big heel turn. We also have, and I'm just going to actually address this up front before I forget, this mystery man, and WWE's put out 2 quick 15-second promos over the last day or two of this mystery man. And yeah, I think it's a man. If it's a woman, then, I mean, got us, I guess. But there's these couple of videos of just a pair of feet in black dress shoes walking. Can't really decipher anything else. It's just a person walking from the ankles down, and you get no other information, leading to us to believe that someone is returning. And there are 2 top guys that people are pointing to that make a lot of sense, and we could see this pair of feet lead all the way into Survivor Series if we wanted to, I guess. But those 2 men are Gunther, which certainly is possible. Last I did check and hear from the news sites that he is close to returning, and Gunther would be a big, big return, no doubt. And you do wonder, if Gunther returns, what side of the aisle is he going to be on? He could easily slide over to the babyface side, easily. So maybe they go that road, maybe they don't. It feels like they're turning everybody heel these days. So you got to have a babyface on some side. And if Jay's about to turn, you got to balance it out somehow. On the other side of the coin, you have another top choice of Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho has been rumored to come back for a long time now. From AEW coming back to WWE. Jericho could certainly also fit the bill. Honestly, either man would be big news. It would be big news for either man. Gunther, he could slide right back into the world title picture. He does have a beef with Jey. Perhaps he is the reason that Jey doesn't win. I mean, I don't know. just speculating at this point. And if Chris Jericho is the guy to be revealed, well, who does he work with? I mean, that something I actually haven't really thought about. But as far as just the reveal of who it is, Gunther and or Chris Jericho seem to be the top two. Some people are making some memes that it's Vince McMahon, which would be ridiculous but hilarious. And to be quite frank with you, if Vince McMahon ever were to come back, I would not. I would encourage it. I'd invite it. Not that I agree with Vince McMahon's personal decisions. You don't need to agree with anyone's personal decisions to want to see them on TV. Since when is that a qualifier? And when do you decide which person goes where based on their own moral personal decisions? You don't make that statement for any other entertainment platform, whether it's TV or professional sports. Suddenly WWE is the only one held to that standard. Oh, what are they doing? They can't bring that person back. Who gives a damn? But some people feel like they have the say, they have the authority to decide based on that person's questionable decisions, whether or not that person should be hired by the company. However, I'm going off the rails. Vince McMahon, if he were ever to come back, and I don't know if that'll ever happen, even in a cameo appearance, I would think, can you imagine the ratings? Could you imagine the social media explosion? You thought Brock Lesnar was crazy? You thought Edge returning in 2020 was crazy at the Royal Rumble? You thought CM Punk returning at Survivor Series 2023 was crazy? All of those crazy in their own right. I don't think there would be one to be as crazy of a return reaction than Vince McMahon to walk down the aisle. Again, I'm not predicting it. This is way out of left field. But if I were TKO, and they seem to be extremely focused on money, bring back the owner of the company. And you know what? Do it before he's dead. The guy is, old now. He's old. There's no other way to put it. He can dye his hair whatever color he wants. He can dye his eyebrows whatever color he wants. He can try to dress up in whatever fancy custom suit he wants, however much it's worth. His age is his age is his age. And math says, despite the fact that Vince McMahon did defeat God in a tag team match once, God ultimately wins the war. And Vince McMahon ain't going to be around forever. It's a ridiculous, I know that it's a ridiculous proposition to a lot of people, but could you imagine the discussion, the ratings, the news coverage? I'm serious. There may not be a bigger returning star that has ever come back than Vince McMahon. That's a hell of a high bar. Think of all the returns that have ever happened in the world. I mean, The Rock coming back how many times throughout the decades? Hulk Hogan returning to WWE in 2002. There's been some insane returns. Brock Lesnar coming to WWE in 2012 after taking a 7 or 8 year hiatus. Stone Cold coming back out of retirement and all the moments he's given us since he retired in 2003. There's been a lot. And I think it would be right up there with the newsworthy explosion of Vince McMahon returning. And yes, now we have social media. And of course, information today is sent at a pace that in 2003 we never could have imagined, right? We know that. But anyway, I'm going off the rails as I do. But just a little food for thought. Before Vince is dead, and since we have this mystery man that's being teased now to return, no, I don't think it's Vince. But it got my wheels turning also of, hey, what if Vince McMahon were to just come back? Why would that be bad for business? They'd get all the people yelling and screaming and pretending to be offended and saying how they're done watching WWE, which is, of course, nonsense. And they would get a massive spike in ratings. I'm not saying bring him back long term. Bring him back at a WrestleMania. Bring him back in a big spot to do just something. He doesn't. I'm not asking him for even to take a bump, just to come back and declare something, or be general manager for a night, or just take control of the company for 24 hours, or somebody gets to appoint their own GM for, you know what I mean? Something crazy like that. That's short term to bring Vince back. I know a lot of people out there listening to my voice hate Vince. They hate him. What are you doing? He ruined wrestling. The fact of the matter is, you and I are listening to this and are watching wrestling because of Vince McMahon. So regardless of what do you think about him personally, and there's a lot of people who have done great things professionally that have done horrible things personally. This is not exclusive to Vince McMahon, although people like to pretend it is. But it doesn't erase his incredible achievements, taking wrestling worldwide, going national, first of all, bringing wrestling into the mainstream. And despite what you think of him, is he really proposing Vince to come back? You know what? Yeah. Crazier things have been done. Bringing people back that probably shouldn't have been brought back with the things that they have done and said. Cain Velasquez. Hey, remember him? I know he wasn't in WWE long and he challenged Brock, but all the things he's been accused of. Okay? Hell, Austin was accused of domestic violence. He was even, I think he was, he actually served, did he serve time? I'd have to look at what Austin's sentence was in the mid 2000s. It wasn't good for Austin. Austin doesn't have a clean record either. I mean, you go down the line and yeah, what Vince did, if true, is bad. I'm not looking at his personal record. I don't care. Yes, I just spent the first 10 minutes talking about Vince McMahon, which I did not plan on that. So let's dive in. Let's go to SmackDown, something that did happen. But let me know your thoughts on who you think this mystery person is, if it's not revealed before the time that you listen to this. So we had Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso speaking backstage. Jimmy told Cody he appreciated what Cody did for Jacob, and Jimmy said he was going to talk to SmackDown GM Nick Aldis about what happened at Fatu, and Cody asked how things were between Jimmy and his brother Jey. Jimmy said Cody saw what Jey did to him during Raw and asked Cody how he would feel, and Cody Rhodes said he has a brother in the game and gets it. Both men said they intend to speak with Aldis, and Cody Rhodes comes out, and he's stood in the ring because duh. And he said they should talk about Drew McIntyre, and he recalled McIntyre hitting McIntyre with the championship. And Cody wondered if he needed to apologize for doing so. And McIntyre appeared in the crowd and said he didn't need Cody's apologies. And McIntyre walked to ringside and called out the fans for booing him and cheering Cody, which is exactly right. It's backwards. But McIntyre stood on the broadcast table and said the fans are complicit in Cody's crime, and the fans are brainwashed by Cody's corporate propaganda, and said he's been screwed so many times that it's become about him finishing the story, and said he would do that next week at Saturday night's main event. Which is very true. I mean, hot start from Drew, who just continues to be so consistently good. Now, has this Cody and Drew program been steady and consistent and fun and kind of here and there? This has been kind of an inconsistent program with Cody and Drew, a little bit of a broken one. Not bad, just kind of all over. It feels like it doesn't have a direction, and like it's fractured. It's like a fractured program that I know who's fighting, but I'm trying to figure out why. And yes, they're going to be fighting for the championship at Saturday night's main event. And there is a chance that Drew does win. Certainly a chance, more than an average chance, I think. So we'll see. But okay, McIntyre then talked about who attacked Jacob Fatu. McIntyre said that he hates that that family. He said that he claimed he's innocent. Essentially, this write-up is just the words they wrote don't make sense. So he claimed his innocence and said he saw Cody talking to Jimmy and speculated that maybe Jimmy was responsible for attacking Fatu. Cody cut off McIntyre and said he was clearly looking for a fight, and McIntyre got down from the table. Jey Uso hopped off the barricade to attack McIntyre, and that's a lot of pull apart and jumping and all that kind of stuff. And so Cody cutting off Drew because Drew is not the one who attacked Fatu. That would be boring. Also, it would be inconsistent with Drew's character of just being a truth-telling heel. And I think Drew is certainly innocent of this. It's not Drew's style. It doesn't fit his character. It's either Jey or Cody that attacked him. One of them attacked Fatu. And it could have been Jey. I hope it's Cody that this whole thing leads to a heel turn. But it's Jey or Cody. Bar none. It can't be Jimmy. Jimmy, as Drew appropriately put in his promo, Jimmy is the black sheep. He's the one that everyone forgets about. He's the one that's always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Yes, Drew is saying the quiet part out loud. It's true. That's what makes this great. That's what makes it great with Drew. I know that he doesn't have the most fun demeanor and all that, but when you look at this objectively, if you didn't see the people, you just saw on paper what they were saying, you'd actually kind of side with Drew. I mean, I think there would be much more of a portion of the audience that if you just look at this on paper and didn't know who the people were, couldn't put a face to it, didn't watch them on video, you'd probably side with Drew. He tells the truth. So we have then Shinsuke Nakamura and Rey Fenix. And Tama Tonga and JC Mateo taking on Shinsuke Nakamura and Rey Fenix. Again, still really good to see Shinsuke in the ring. I know that he's not what he once was, and he's also looking at retirement along with AJ Styles. And you know what? This probably also gets Seth's gears turning about retirement as well. I'm not saying he said anything about it. I'm not predicting he's retiring or trying to start rumors. But based on an interview he did with Chris Van Vliet just earlier this year about him talking about how much time he feels like he has left, and he said he feels like he has a couple good years left in him, especially with the schedule now being reduced, live events essentially being eliminated that are non-televised. He feels like, the wear and tear in his body really being reduced. He's able to stretch it out longer. But every time he gets injured, of course, you're thinking about that. You're thinking about, oh, man, I have to go through recovery again and get myself back into ring shape again. It's got to be just horrible. Seth knows that he doesn't have much time left. Then you're thinking you get this massive injury. You're getting older. The company is really looking beyond you, which is why they're having you form a group really to create your own predecessors in Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. So they're almost having you dig your own grave. And I don't mean that in a morbid way. I'm saying that this is just the way the business is. I'm not faulting TKO or WWE, but they're looking past Seth. I would be for the future. Seth is he's the present, but he's not the future. Seth does, I think, also have a couple years left in him that are good. If I was to absolutely just make a drop dead proclamation, and this is just as of right now, at this very moment, that of course could change, and I'm probably going to be proven wrong, and that's fine. If I was to guess when Seth would retire, I'd say 3 to 4 years. All right, I'd say that's probably it for Seth after that. Probably in, 2025? I would say 2028, 2029 is when we would see Seth retire. That's just my guess, but I could be wrong. So, of course, I don't think even Seth knows. So to predict that is kind of difficult. So this match with Tama Tonga and JC Mateo taking on Shinsuke and Phoenix went 12 minutes with Tama Tonga and JC Mateo beating them. The finish was Tama hitting Phoenix with a hidden blade, which Cole said Tama calls the cutthroat and looks bad. It's not a good move. Tama covered Phoenix and got the 3 count. It's fine. You had Tala Tonga hit the choke slam on Phoenix on the apron. That looked good. You had Solo out there. It doesn't hurt or help anybody. I shouldn't say that. It helps the MFTs just continue their momentum. It's just what it does. It doesn't really position anybody in a different place than they did prior to the match. It's just a matter of who gets the momentum. It's a momentum shifter, and that's all this is with the MFTs getting the victory here. So we have, some backstage stuff with Julia on the phone. She was approached by Chelsea Green and Alba Fire. I'm going to kind of skip that. But we did get women's champion Tiffany Stratton taking on Kiana James with Julia in a non-title match. The match went 10 minutes with Tiffany Stratton beating Kiana James, again in a non-title match. After the match, though, we did have Julia attack Stratton from behind, and then Julia blasted Stratton with the knee strike. Jade Cargill made her entrance, cleared Julia from the ring before knocking James off the apron. Jade then looked down at Stratton and offered her a hand. Stratton accepted. Jade raised Stratton's arm, teased leaving, but then turned around and clotheslined Stratton. Heel turn. So we all know that move WWE made off of cable television onto Netflix for Monday Night Raw and now to ESPN for PLEs. Well, you can unlock more content without having to pay for multiple subscriptions. How, you may ask? Well, remember that little piece of advice Stephanie McMahon inadvertently gave to the WWE fans? It's called a VPN. If you're not sure what that is, it's a virtual private network. What will this do for you? Well, it can help you unlock access to the content library of a different region. For example, some United States-based fans use a VPN to access the more comprehensive library that's on the Netflix UK to avoid paying the multiple services, like I said, for Peacock and ESPN. So what service specifically we're talking about here? That's Surfshark, today's sponsor of this episode, Surfshark VPN. So the VPN, the virtual private network, means you can change your virtual location with just a few clicks. It masks your true IP address. It makes you appear that you're anywhere in the world. And for example, you can set it to Canada and boom, you unlock the Canadian Netflix library, which includes all of that awesome WWE programming, commercial free, I might add. And while you're there, you can also check out other shows exclusive to Canadian Netflix. So kind of a win-win. And of course, all of the classic benefits of a VPN that are there at your disposal too, meaning enhanced security while surfing the web, data privacy, fewer pop-ups, and even some of Surfshark's specific services, such as Surfshark Alert and Surfshark Antivirus. Even better, you guys can try Surfshark risk-free thanks to their 30-day money-back guarantee. And here's the best deal. Go to surfshark.com/WWEpod and you'll get 4 months extra when you sign up for a 2-year plan and enter the code WWEpod. Again, that's surfshark.com/WWEpod to get an extra 4 months on a 2-year plan. No need to write it down. My link and code are in the show description. And by using my code, of course, you do help support this podcast. A huge thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring today's episode. So welcome back. We got a heel turn for Jade. Crowd was into it, more into it than probably her babyface character. I mean, they didn't go crazy, but I think this could unlock Jade. It could take the chains and restrictions off of her because, as I mentioned, and as many wrestlers have mentioned, this isn't secrets. Being a heel allows you to be much more free. Yes, you may not make as much in merch, but you get to kind of do whatever the hell you want on TV. Of course, within reason, right? In other words, you don't have to worry about eliciting that specific reaction of people cheering for you. You're allowed to kind of do what you need to do to make people hate you. And a lot of people fall into that very easily. Jade, I think, falls into that very nicely. I don't know why they try to position her as a babyface. From the beginning, you can't have a woman like that, looking like that, the way she does, a total freak of nature. Having her in there as the constant, overwhelming favorite because of her physique, and having the fans cheer for that because it's hard to relate to somebody like that. 99.9% of us listening look nothing like Jade. We certainly don't. Man or woman, most of us are not anywhere near the shape that Jade is in. And that's a credit to her. But it's hard to relate to somebody like that on top of, as I've said many, many times, you are putting a character forth that we know nothing about other than her physical appearance that she relied very heavily on, that wore thin. Because there was nothing else to her other than her telling us, look at me. Look at me. If you haven't looked at me, look at me. Look at me. Oh, did you know that I look good? Did you know that look at my, hey now, look at me. That's how she pretty much operated. Tell me one thing about Jade, character-wise, that you now know about her that you didn't know the moment she walked in the company. Can you even make one or two items on the list? Can you name just two? What do you know about her character-wise? Not physically. She has improved in the ring, and I credit her for that as well. But can anyone name just 2 things? 2. I might even put it down to 1. Character traits that we know about her now that we didn't know about her when she first walked in. I cannot. That's a failure on the part of WWE and Jade, because they never allowed us to see her or to hear her talk. It was always interrupted within 30 seconds or less. Her sit-down interviews even were interrupted quickly. So this could really unleash Jade. She could just kind of not worry about things and just worry about the crowd hating her, because I think that's the way that people have been kind of tipping anyway. So I'm excited for this. I hope they let her go on the mic is where she needs to thrive. That's where she needs the most help. She's needed that from day one. So we'll see. I'm on board for this. She also attacked Stratton's knee, which was nice. The look is also cool. The silver hair, the kind of just the cut off top and all the rest. She plays the part well, much better than I think the other one did. All right, so let's continue. Backstage, Sammy congratulated Dragunov for beating him to win the U.S. Championship, and Dragunov spoke about how much he respects Zayn. He admired Sammy for the open challenges and indicated he would continue to grant them. Zayn said they're no joke and then built up Dragunov, who had out for his open challenge. Backstage, Kathy Kelly did interview Jade, who said the world doesn't reward patience. It rewards power. She said she's taking it, starting with the Women's Championship. Again, I forgot that she actually did speak here, but didn't do a ton here, but she did say that the world doesn't reward patience, it rewards power. Again, short, sweet, 1-2 sentences. They got to have her do like just a few minutes. Not asking for a 15-minute monologue, but okay, she did tell us what she's targeting. And she's saying basically she's tired of waiting. I'm just going to use my power to get what I want. Okay, that's something. I'll say that's something. And the bar's low here, so fine. So we get then Aleister Black making his entrance, and it was him taking on Dragunov for the United States Championship. The match went 15 minutes and 40 seconds with Dragunov beating Aleister Black. Now the referee saw Vega interfering and ejected her rather than the DQ that he easily could have done. Ejected Zelina from the ring from ringside. By the way, I love their entrance. Vega and Black are peanut butter and jelly. I love their aura, their presence. They are 2 missing pieces put together, and I know that they're actually married, which certainly helps. And I'm sure that this certainly helps actually in their relationship to be together, even if they're married, to be together on the road instead of being gone 150 days a year. Certainly a good thing. And if you can match that chemistry on camera, which doesn't always happen, that's a double bonus. So good for these two. I hope this continues. But Damien Priest made his entrance wearing sunglasses, and Priest removed them, and you saw the quote-unquote burns left by the fireball. Dragunov hit a distracted Black with a torpedo Moscow and got the victory. After the match, Priest attacked Black and placed him on the broadcast table with a chair under his head, and Priest picked up another chair, but Zelina Vega jumps on the back of Priest and gouged his bad eye, and Black and Vega hopped the barricade and made their exit. So I like this, actually. I know that a lot of people don't like this distraction finish and Dragunov and Black getting the distraction finish. It's a way to cover Black, but also, it allows Dragunov to look smart, to take advantage of his opponent being distracted, which you should. You should. The makeup, by the way, that was used on the quote-unquote burn for Damien Priest started to come off at the end. You could see like his burn from when he first appeared to his quote-unquote burn when he left. Some of the makeup was worn off. It's not a complaint, just an observation. But I like this because you didn't get the payoff. You have Zelina save Black from what Black certainly deserves, which is a chair to the skull. You have them run through the crowd. You have Priest get a small taste of revenge, but not what you wanted with the big payoff of, again, like I said, the violent act, which makes you want to see the violent act because Aleister Black is deserving of it. I think this is a nice, little bit of an underrated, underappreciated program right now. There's not a lot of depth to it, but it's simple. Sometimes simple's good, especially for us simple-minded people. I'm talking about myself, yes. Alrighty. We had then, let's see, Kathy Kelly interviewing Carmelo Hayes and asked what caused the tension between him and Miz. And Hayes says he wasn't going to talk or was only going to berate Miz. He said he's grateful for what he taught him. But things changed when Miz put his hands on him, and Hayes said he was going to let it slide. But he said they were even as far as he was concerned, and he felt the support from the fans and was going to focus on being him. Whatever. So I got nothing to say about Carmelo right now because I don't know what he is. He attacks the Miz from behind. What was it, last week? Which is 100% a heel move. He saw, I guess we're even and we're done. Thanks for the support. And I mean, what? They can't find a direction for Carmelo. I feel like he's also just treading water, but maybe that's just my own personal insight there. All right. We have more interviews with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Again, I'm not covering every single backstage. There's a lot of backstage stuff on this show. So let's continue here. Nia Jax shows up and said Flair and Bliss were pretending to be besties, but she was waiting to see one of them stab the other in the back. And Flair said she used to be like Jax, but then she learned about healthy relationships, and Jax said she was in a friendship with someone she learned from the best, saying Bliss will hug you with one arm and stab you in the back with the other. Bliss said that if Jax is looking for the old her, she's not hard to find. Bliss and Jax set up a match against one another for next week. Nice little callback there to Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. If you remember, for all intents and purposes, with Alexa being a heel in that program many years ago, it might have been 3-4 years ago, 5 years, it was a while ago. Alexa Bliss essentially called Nia Jax fat in the backstage footage, if you remember that segment specifically. But she was making fun of Nia Jax's weight. And Alexa was playing the heel. So I'm glad they kind of made a callback to that of them used to be friends of sorts. Okay. We then get Drew McIntyre versus Jimmy Uso in a no DQ match. 12 and a half minutes with Drew beating Jimmy Uso with a Claymore and getting the 3 count. After the match, McIntyre jabbed the chair in the throat of Jimmy, and Cody Rhodes comes out, in his, I think he had his windbreaker, his 1998 windbreaker on. So that was good. He checked on Jimmy. McIntyre returned to the ring, put Cody down with a Claymore, and McIntyre knelt over Cody and spoke to him to end the show. So this had to happen with Drew beating Jimmy. I mean, how could it not? Because you have him in a title match against Cody at Saturday night's main event. There's no world in which Jimmy could have won that match. None. So McIntyre winning was a sure thing. And like I said, I really do believe there's a real chance that Cody drops the belt here. I didn't say it's going to happen. I said there's a more than average chance. We'll talk more about that in the preview show later this week. So I think overall it was a good show. Not one that many of us will have crazy long memories of. I mean, anytime there's a heel turn, that's always fun because you can say you were there for a heel turn. Heel turns are always more exciting than babyface turns because heel turns happen in a moment. Sometimes babyface turns happen slowly, organically, and the fans just decide this is who they're going to get behind. Heel turns happen suddenly. There's that sudden shift. That's what I think makes heel turns so impactful, so much more memorable than babyface turns that, again, not always, but many times happen slowly over time. Fans can see it coming. They're often the ones, like I said, that choose it. And there's also a strong sense of betrayal when you have somebody who you loved, thought they were on your side, have them turn on you. And when you can feel that you take it personally, that's when they know they've really got you. I mean, that doesn't happen too often, but the feeling of betrayal is a very strong emotion, very strong action and corresponding emotion, I should say. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw. Not going to go crazy here, but do want to cover it just very briefly. We had the World Championship be taken, the belt itself, be taken by Adam Pearce. There was some tension there to open Raw, if you remember. And we had Finn Balor and JD McDonough take on AJ Styles and Dragon Lee for the World Tag Team titles, with AJ Lee and Dragon Lee beating Finn and JD to win the World Tag Team titles. Really good match. And I had a feeling that this would happen because Finn and JD have done essentially nothing with their world titles. It hasn't been really talked about. It's been cut off of a lot of, I've seen some of the highlights of WWE. It's not really been a focal point, to say the very least. And when they do that for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden that team is defending their titles out of nowhere, is a very clear and very consistent and accurate sign that they're probably going to drop the belt or belts. So really good match here with AJ and Dragon Lee. Good to see those two champions, for the first time in a long time, specifically AJ Styles. I don't know. Has Dragon Lee, he might have been a U.S. champion. I have to see. But AJ Styles, it feels like it's been way too long for AJ holding a WWE championship of sorts. And this is really fun to see. I hope that these two maintain a lengthy title reign. And that means like 3 months or more. We'll see. But I like it. Alrighty, we had then Dominic take on Rusev for the Intercontinental title. Dominic beats Rusev in 9.5 minutes after we had Dom kick Rusev between the legs. Well, it was really a kick on the ass, but it's supposed to be between the legs, and that he followed up with a 619. Fans are really starting to get behind Dom, as I mentioned on the Raw review earlier last week. And this is going to be a fun ride with Dom. I have said this before. I'll say it again. Fans are ready. They're ready to embrace him. We're not going to screw around, try to double down, triple turn, triple swerve into another swerve, into a swerve. Just stop the nonsense. Just let it be. Let it be with Dom, because the fans are telling you they're ready. And I think Dom is ready as well. Fans want to see Dom retain. When is the last time you were able to say that? Okay, WrestleMania was the unofficial start of his babyface turn. The fans were really behind him at WrestleMania. But from the time that the WWE machine has been seemingly now behind this decision to turn him face, I think that this is maybe the first time we're able to say the fans want to see Dom retain. It's a good thing. And the Eddie Guerrero spirit living through Dom is what makes it so fun. And yes, now there's a level of respect for Dom because he's been around a while. Fans have booed him for literally years out of buildings. It's time. And when Liv Morgan comes back, can you imagine? When Liv Morgan comes back, what does she do with Dom? Hopefully get right back with him. There's going to be a massive reaction for Liv Morgan when she returns. So we then had another feel-good story here. Becky Lynch and Maxxine Dupri for the Women's Intercontinental title. Now, you knew that there wasn't really going to be a chance, at least in this particular match, for Maxxine to capture the Intercontinental Championship. And by the way, the match went about 10 minutes, but it was by DQ because Becky hit purposefully Maxxine with the Intercontinental title belt, and Maxxine won, but by DQ, so no title transmission took place. And the feel-good story of Maxxine continues as well. Her in-ring continues to progress. Her mic skills they're okay. I mean, she does need some improvement there as well. I'm not going to pretend she doesn't. She needs some character development beyond the feel-good, kind of underdog, like grassroots movement support for Maxxine. It'll drive her to a pretty high place, but not where they want it to go. So she needs to improve and continue to improve on the mic. That all said, they can really start to ride that wave right now because the fans are behind Maxxine. She's feel good. She is someone that's improving in front of our eyes. She's putting in the work. Fans respect that. So I think the next time that these two meet, Becky Lynch and Maxxine, I would say also there's a 50-50 shot that Maxxine comes away with the belt, whenever that may be. Okay. Some video packages of the Kabuki Warriors. Again, a lot more stuff here. If you want a detailed review of Monday Night Raw, go to my Monday Night Raw review. Of course, that was put out on Tuesday. So then we had the fourth match of the night was Stephanie Vaquer and Roxanne Perez in a non-title match. The match went, actually, I don't have the timestamp, but we had Stephanie Vaquer beat Roxanne Perez. And it was because of Angel Wings for the victory. Rodriguez attacked Vaquer after the match, and Nikki Bella comes out to make the save. And Nikki put Perez down, but Rodriguez caught her with a big boot. That looked, I said this on Monday or on Tuesday, but I'll say it again. That boot Rodriguez delivered was brutal and looked great. So I didn't mean that as a slight. That looked great. I meant brutal in a good way. Vaquer went for the springboard move and slipped on the ropes. That did not look good. And Vaquer come up holding her knee, and Vaquer and Bella cleared the heels from the ring. Haven't heard anything of injury-wise versus with Vaquer, which is good news. It was certainly a slip. It did look bad, and I'm glad she's okay. That's really all that there's to say about that. So we have, let's see, the fifth match of the night that we all know, which is a battle royal for a spot in the match for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship. No Braun Breaker in the match. No Bronson Reed in the match. But Jey Uso wins by eliminating both LA Knight and Jimmy Uso, and eventually Dom, who we all thought was going to be maybe the one. I mean, imagine if Dom had won that. My God. But Jey Uso wins in about 18 and a half minutes to get a spot in the match against CM Punk. And this was, I know that there's a lot of people who are unhappy about this. A lot of dislikes. I went over that in excess on my last show, that there's this subset of people that believe WWE should react to a button being pushed on social media. Of course, you can't run a business like that. You should take the temperature of the audience as a whole, but you can't dictate everything you do based on, oh my gosh, well, shoot, there's 10,000, 100,000, a million dislikes on this. We got to change course. We got to correct course. No, you don't. You don't. You need to kind of look at consistency and translation to real life. I mean, I went over those two massive points on my last show. And I know that WWE is probably, they're looking at that going, oh man, shaking their heads or laughing, whatever they're doing. But until there's actual consistency or a movement online or some kind of backlash that they could see coming, and it's translating into real life in the arenas, it's coming into actual, as I said, 3D space on Monday, Tuesday review. It's not doing that yet. And if it does, then maybe they'll start to rethink their creative process. But if fans are arrogant enough to think, and I'm not coming to WWE's defense in principle, I'm a realist, and WWE is not, TKO is not going to just react to a button being pushed by however many people. All right. They're not. They care about in-person reaction. Are fans still coming? Are they still reacting? Is there a consistent trend that maybe we should pay attention to on social media? Is there a hashtag trending? Is there real potential backlash that could come from this decision, especially from a monetary perspective? If the answer is no to all those, then they're just going to laugh all the way to the bank on the dislikes. I mean, they're just going to go, okay, sure, whatever. Have fun. Have fun pushing your button. That's what I'd say. I mean, hey, you're not going to have everyone like everything. Jey Uso does have several videos that have a lot of dislikes on them, yet the fans up until this point have been very supportive of Jey, listening in the arenas. He moves a lot of merchandise. He's got a lot of energy. He is a visual spectacle. He's not a deep character when it comes to on the microphone. He lacks there in a big, big way. The WWE and somewhat rightfully so, don't trust him to say more than a sentence or two. And he's really good in the ring. He's got a hell of a storyline also behind him with the bloodline story that went on forever that solidified a lot of men's careers. He's had a legendary tag team career. And yes, he won a world championship at WrestleMania. And very few men can say that. He won a Royal Rumble. Very few men on this planet, living or dead, could say that. So Jey Uso's had a hell of a career. He's had a hell of a career, and WWE's not just going to switch their creative because a bunch of people are pointing out how many dislikes are on a video. It's not going to happen. But that said, that we are probably in the process of Jey turning heel. I think it's still in progress. He could be doing that at this next PLE here, or this PLE hybrid of Saturday night's main event. He could do it as early as Saturday, whether it's a low blow, some kind of cheap way to win the belt. And then Gunther could challenge him. They have a long history as well. Chris Jericho could come out. I mean, kind of wild stuff here. I know I pointed those two men as possibilities at the beginning of the show. But you have Jey Uso in a position that the fans, I think, are ready to dislike him now. And that's okay. If I was Jey in the company, I'd embrace it. Because it opens a whole new box for Jey Uso. A box he hasn't opened in about 4 years. Since he was with the Bloodline. The OG Bloodline. So with Jey Uso about to turn heel, he could totally remake and rebuild and rebrand himself. Why not? I mean, I'm not looking at this as a positive or a negative for Jey. It's a good thing. The fans are telling you they're ready. Okay, great. Let's give it to him. You know? Let's give it to him. It's been a while. So, all right. I'll stop babbling. Thank you, everybody, for joining me on this Sunday night. I'll be back on Tuesday with your Raw review. If you want to also join the patrons I mentioned at the beginning of the show, as well as many others that we have on the free side, the ad-free side of things, as well as a Discord server you have access to, community chat that's available to you instantly upon joining, head on over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. Get yourself an ad-free experience. Try us out for a week. Why not? It'll carry you right through Saturday night's main event. See if you like it. If you do, cool, stick around. You know, no harm, no foul, but give us a try. Patreon.com/WWE podcast if you like. And hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Sunday. Hope your NFL team of choice has won. I know for me, I'm a Giants fan. I will just close with this. And if you are not a sports fan and you're just ready, to stop listening to me, then cool. I'll talk to you later. So this is for just the NFL fans, New York fans, just New York sports fans in general. It is horrible to be a sports fan in New York right now. I mean, outside of the Yankees making the playoffs every year, and that's an accomplishment in and of itself, even though I know a lot of people believe that's a birthright. And as a fan, you just come to expect it. I understand that, and I do too. But outside of that and the Yankees making the playoffs every year, there has not been a championship brought to New York. I don't even, 2009? I'm talking any sport. When is the last time a championship was brought to New York? Oh, I should say, sorry. The Giants in 2012, I should say, did win the Super Bowl. Okay, that's a thing. Yes. But in the last 13 years, it has been a horrible thing to be a sports fan in New York. I mean, the Mets haven't won since 1985. That's horrendous. The Yankees have won one championship in 25 years. One. 16 years since their last one. That's insane. And I know many of you, I haven't won since. Well, the problem is the expectations are different from franchise to franchise. Okay. If you're a Royals fan, if you're a Brewers fan, I get it. You're there. I haven't won since. I get it. But as a Yankees fan, it just sucks. All right. It sucks because, again, 1 in 25 years, based on what the Yankees tell you their goal is every year, they have won 1 out of 25. That's a bad ratio. Not saying it's easy to do, but then again, you look at the Mets. They have their own mess going on. They haven't won in 40 years. You have the Rangers, the NHL Rangers, the Islanders. You have the Giants, who again are the last ones to win a championship. You have the Jets, who finally won a game this week by a point. So, I mean, I guess the bar is so low that we're supposed to celebrate a 1-7 record. I mean, are you kidding me? You know, again, you have the Knicks, who are now playoff contenders, which is good. You have the Nets, who might be able to squeak in this year. It's not the sports juggernaut of being in New York is no longer a thing. I mean, being in New York, being in Yankee Stadium, the intimidation of being at home field advantage just generally in New York doesn't exist anymore. It's hard being a fan in New York right now under any sport that you like. Any sport. So just wanted to point that out for those that give a damn. If you listen to wrestling, you probably aren't listening to this anyway, because I told you to just head out. This is about other things. So, okay, I'll stop. Thank you, everybody, for listening. As always, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.